reason why most women will never open up to you and let you know who they truly are. The reason why is because the things that they think, they know for sure that most men can't handle it and will judge them for forever and take them off the pedestal that they feel most comfortable at. What I have today are the top 5 dark fantasies every woman has that she'll never tell you about. Now, I'm not pulling this out of my ass. These top 5 dark fantasies, most men have never had a woman even tell them about one of these fantasies. I've dealt with enough women who live an alternative lifestyle. I've dealt with enough women who have sold pussy. I've dealt with enough women who have gotten close enough to me to really let me know what's on their mind, what they've told me, and what other women have told them. The top 5 dark fantasies that every woman has that she'll never tell you about. Starting with number 1, the rape fantasy. Every woman, deep down, and I wanted to bring a woman on, right, and discuss these things, but most women will not have this conversation on camera. You see, I'm coming in hot. When we talk about the rape fantasy, I want to explain why women have this deep-seated secret for the rape fantasy. The thing about it is that the nature of a woman, when they really strip it down to the core, right, and they're at their most feminine, all women want to be dominated by a man. All women. And if she says no, she's a fucking liar, okay? That's feminism and all this other liberal bullshit making them lie to themselves, right? For every woman that acts like she doesn't want to be dominated by a man, she doesn't want to be manhandled by a man, what happens when you're in the bedroom with her? The toughest, most aggressive acting women, right? If you really understand women and you really dealt with them, you get them in the bedroom, they like to be choked, manhandled, right? Pushed around, flipped around, right? Deep down, every woman has a fantasy of a big, strong man, right? Secretly popping up on them and taking the pussy. No woman will admit this, but this is the truth. Because deep down, every woman wants to be dominated by a man. Now, I don't mean dominated in the sense of beat on, black eyes, stuff like that. Even though, and I will go into how some women like to be really like abused in the future, because I got a couple stories for that. But I'm just talking about the fantasy of being taken advantage of, because women have this fantasy thing in their head where it will really get them off. There's been women who have actually been taken advantage of and they have came to come. They reached their climax. So when I tell y'all that every woman deep down, right, has a rape fantasy where they get taken advantage of by a man, I'm not saying just any random geeky, ugly guy who she'd be ashamed of herself. I'm talking about if a big, strong man who she finds attractive, right, would take advantage of her in a fantasy setting, right? If they can have that happen in a way where she won't feel violated, even though here's the thing, there's a part of women who also get off on being humiliated. There's this thing about some women were getting humiliated, getting violated, getting forced to do things they never did before actually turns them on, right? But like I said, this is probably the number one fantasy every woman has that she'll definitely never tell you about. If you get close enough to any other women, the rest of these things on this list, you might be lucky enough for them to tell you about, but it depends on who you are, right? But number 2 of the 5 darkest fantasies every woman has that she'll never tell you about: having a train ran on her. Now, as women get more liberal, right, and they get more comfortable exposing themselves online, you'll come across women every now and then who, and I'm not talking about like porn stars. I'm not talking about OnlyFans women. I'm talking about regular, everyday women. The women who you look at, and you would not expect her to be this type of woman and have this kind of sexual fantasy, right? Those kind of women, your regular, everyday women, right? They all would love to be in a position where they could have the option of having 2 attractive men, right? Who they know will not make their business known online, not tell their husband or boyfriend if they have a husband or boyfriend, not expose them to their friends and family, and if they could meet up or be in a position where they have these 2 attractive women, right? These 2 attractive men, take them somewhere where nobody knows her, right? Where she could literally get pulverized and literally get destroyed by 2 men. Any woman in that position, she would take the opportunity to have that happen to her. Every woman has a fantasy where they would have a train ran on them. They call it a threesome. It's a train, okay? It's a train. Let's call it what it is, right? But every woman would love to be in this position. And the only reason why they don't publicly speak on it, the only reason why most of these women have not acted on it, is because it's more complicated than just like cheating on your man, where it's easier to get away with that, right? It's hard to find a situation where you have 2 guys, where they have 2 guys who they're really attracted to, right? That they would actually do this with. And that's also because of the 80-20 thing that they got with men and women, where they say men, we find 80% of the women that we see fuckable, whereas women only see 20% of the men that they see fuckable. So it's rare that they will be in a place where they see 2 big, strong men that they're attracted to, that they would take that opportunity and risk it all, right? But every woman has this fantasy. Many, many, many women, and they're getting more comfortable. I'm the kind of person who, I'm comfortable around hoes like Jesus Christ, right? So these hoes, they tell me their deepest, darkest secrets, and I keep their secrets because I'm not a chatty patty, right? The things that a woman tells me that she intends on keeping a secret for the rest of her life, I allow her to keep that a secret. I allow her to be honest with me about it, right? So number 2 is having a train ran on her. Number 3 of the 5 darkest fantasies every woman has that she'll never tell you about: being a stripper / being a prostitute, right? This day and age, most women, right, if they were not worried about having their business exposed, they would be a stripper or a prostitute. When it comes to being a stripper or a prostitute and why women are into this types of thing, it's a vanity thing. It's a feeling like a goddess type of thing, right? Like, I seen an interview, right, on Angela Yee's Lip Service podcast, where they had the woman who played Yvette, Jodie's mother, on Baby Boy, where she was talking about having a train ran on her for like a 50th birthday where she had these two sexy men that she felt like was sexy, and they flipped her, right? When women speak about this in their head, they're telling themselves, these two men are worshiping me. They're servicing me. As men, we're telling ourselves, she's servicing me. She's servicing us, right? When it comes to being a stripper, like I said, it's feeling like the men are servicing you and they're all about you. Where they're the center of attention, right? They're getting attention and they're getting money, right? Two of the most important things in any bitch life, no matter who she is. And when it comes to the prostitute aspect of it, right, where a lot more women have a fantasy of being a prostitute. See, they don't they thinking about it as like a glitz and glamour type of thing where she's viewed as so sexy. She getting invited by this rich, they have like a 50 Shades of Grey thing about it, where it's like she could be selling pussy. A rich, attractive man is gonna pay $10,000, $20,000, fly her to some country somewhere. That's how they think about it, right? But on the other end, there's also women who have sold pussy before. Maybe they was down and out. Maybe they had a child. Like I had an ex-girlfriend who, she got a child and she needed some money. And a man offered her $200 to suck his dick. She needed the money, so she did what she had to do. And now referring back to the stripper thing that I'm talking about, where all women, right? It's just a culture now for them to want to be a stripper, or like the life of a stripper entices them. First off, who's a lot of these bitches' favorite female rapper today? Cardi B, a bitch from the Bronx. A bitch from the Bronx who, when I was in high school, she had a friend named Tina who goes by the name of, not Hood Goddess. But anyways, she's like a reggae singer, right? And she used to come after school to go meet up with Tina, things like that, right? But anyways, stripper. I've been to regular parties where if you put a strip pole up, these bitches don't know how to act. They start getting on it, twerking on it, trying to spin on it. They telling their friends to take pictures of them on the pole. I don't know if y'all noticed on Facebook, they got this new AI generator thing where I've seen multiple women post the AI picture of themselves with their face put on a stripper's body, and then there's a stripper showing the backside and she's holding on to a pole. Anything where the high level of sexuality controls men, women want that. They want to be that, right? That's some game for y'all niggas. But now moving on to number 4. And this is as equally as controversial a dark fantasy as number 1, kissing cousins. Wanting to fuck a family member and getting away with it. Every fantasy that I tell you, because I got one more after this, every fantasy that I've told you, women would act on way more if we as men didn't judge them for it. If the women who they look up to wouldn't judge them for it, right? Because their friends would be like, bitch, go ahead, do that shit, right? But kissing cousins, wanting to fuck a family member and getting away with it. This thing right here, we got to put this on the simple case of human nature, right? The term cousin. Cousins are a real thing. However, the term cousin and what it is within a family is only a social construct. Before modern times, right? Women slept with and got with their cousins all the time. Arranged marriages with their cousins all the time. And it was nothing to scoff at. It was never nothing that was viewed negatively, right? These days it is. And what I'm saying is that I believe in every family there's two things, if not one of these things. The one thing is everybody. Nope, I'm going to rephrase that because I was about to say it wrong and this was going to be clipped and this was going to make me look crazy in the future on Shade Room. After talking to so many women, right? I believe that there's multiple women out there who growing up, when you start that age where you're exploring your body and understanding male-female dynamics and those hormones first start to rage, there are many women who were young girls and they had a crush on their cousin. A lot of them, it was only a thought, right? Then you get grown and they say to themselves, if he wasn't my cousin, I'd put the pussy on him. Also, as men, let's be honest, okay? We've had them same thoughts as well. But here's where things get dastardly and sinister, right? And crazy. Then you had these situations where there were women who were once young girls, and everything I said as far as feelings, when they're prepubescent and all that, these feelings start to rise. There are those young girls who took it a step further and they were humping their cousins, dry humping their cousins, right? You may be somebody, a man or a woman watching this video right now, and that was you. I'm not going to hold that against you. You were young. I'm not here to judge anybody, right? I'm a hedonist. I've done things that I wouldn't want the world to know. But as I get older, I'm going to be exposing some of this shit for a price. But anyways, like, that has happened. And now here's the thing, right? Where when we get into the fact of everyone watches porn, right? And in some ways, women watch even more porn, and they say women watch more perverted things in porn than men, right? Y'all know we have the porn category where there's family, cousin, stepmom, right? Where they're fucking their cousin, stepmom, stepsister. I believe, and not only believe, I know for a fact because I've heard this from certain women, where they got older, they didn't let the little kid thing be a little kid thing. Where there was an opportunity to sleep with said cousin who grew up and was fine, and she fucked that nigga. And now every family reunion, right? They act like it never happened. Maybe they still speak on it, maybe they don't. Maybe they let it be one time, maybe they don't. I'll say one thing this way. As men, the men who may not even have ever looked at a family member in a certain type of way, I don't know how many men will be strong enough to turn down a family member that really is trying to give it to them. And she's really attractive. I don't know. But that is 4 of the 5 dark fantasies every woman has that she'll never tell you about. And number 5 of the 5 dark fantasies every woman has that she'll never tell you about. Wishing she could be a man to know what it feels like to have a dick. If all women, to be honest, most women who despise us and have a problem with us, they're really just upset at the fact that God made man to have dominion over this world. God made it so biologically, man will always have dominion over this world. We're cool. Any women, that's why so many women say, I don't like bitches. My friends are guys. They know that it's more beneficial to have a guy as a friend than a girl, right? They know that a man has more guidance to give, has more things to say of substance than a woman, right? A lot of women hate the fact that a man could fuck her so good, give her the best dick that she ever had, and then never talk to her again. It destroys them. There's a term called penis envy. Look it up. It's a real thing. I've had women say, God should have gave me a dick. I should have been born as a man. Saying it jokingly, but they serious though, right? They would love to know what it feels like to be the masters of the universe. They would. Unfortunately, you were born with the XX chromosome. You know what I'm saying? This is why you even have women who are on the whole trans wave and they're saying, yeah, I'm a man now. They want to be men that bad where they're now lying and trying to force us to accept their lies. But anyways, those were the 5 dark fantasies every woman has that she'll never tell you about. Like, share, comment, subscribe.